Okay, well, welcome in, cadets. We're in week 3 of the NFL season. You've got Johnny, John, and Blake, and we're here doing panic or patience. It's time where if you've got some of these players, you drafted them, you need to know if you should be patient with them or if it's really time to start panicking and either selling them and trying to find a trade partner or dropping them all together and moving on to maybe one of our sleepers for the week, right? Make sure you're watching our week 3 starts and sits as well as our week 3 sleepers as well. A lot of really good insight on there to help you win your fantasy leagues. But over the course of the season, let's talk about some guys that maybe we should be patient with if we spent a draft pick on him. And Blake, why don't you go first with your first guy that you want to preach patience about?
Well, this one should be obvious, but I'm not doing anything regarding AJ Brown right now. You took him in the first, second round. He's staying in your lineup, and I think better days are yet to come. I don't. Through 2 weeks, he still has 16 targets. It's not what you really want. He's not been as efficient with those targets as we've seen in years past, but it's still they want to run their offense through him and Devontae Smith, and primarily through AJ Brown with the chunk plays. Let's not forget that he is still beating you on slants. He's just not. They haven't hit that go ball yet, which they were doing all year last year. That's going to come back into play. They have 3 nice matchups coming up with Washington, Tampa, and the Rams. Those defenses have been good in the past, but they're getting eaten up in the air right now. Chunk plays. I like AJ Brown to capitalize on the fact that I think the slow start could actually help him long term, because now the conversation is we got to get him the ball. They're going to make a concerted effort to do that. I think if you can go out and buy AJ Brown right now, try and tear up a receiver. I think that's a play. But if you have him right now, you're holding pat and you're starting, not really thinking about it.
He actually had a holding call called back for a touchdown, so that would have completely changed the whole outcome of that week too. Plus, I mean, we already saw the Jalen Hurts kind of AJ Brown thing on the sideline where he wants the ball. So I always was told the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Week 3 might be that week where he goes absolutely berserk.
He's due. Yeah.
He did say that wasn't about not getting the ball.
Please.
But that was such BS. Like, if you know anything about ball, if you ever played a sport in your life, you know what that conversation was about. But anyways, so week 2, patience for you, John. Who do you think we should be patient on?
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised I even have to say this out loud to people, but I'm all over Instagram and TikTok, and I see people already calling Jamar Chase a bust. And the fact that I got to come out here and even state a case for this, just be patient. You got to throw week 1 out. The weather was awful. Burrow wasn't sharp. He missed all of training camp. But, Chase is going to be the guy. He's been on the field for 95% of the snaps. He had 9 targets in week 1. He had 8 targets in week 2. This is going to translate to production sooner or later. And I know people are kind of concerned about Burrow and his calf, but I'm not. I wish they would sit him for a couple weeks so he can heal, but I don't care who's under center. Jamar Chase is the dude. He's going to produce. And if there's one thing I can count on from this Bengals offense this year is Burrow and Chase making beautiful music together. So be patient with Jamar Chase, okay? We were talking about him being the consensus wide receiver 1 for the overall season, and that's the type of upside, and that's who you drafted. So be patient.
Yeah, I want to go buy some Jamar Chase right now.
Yes, if you can find somebody in your league.
Actually panicking. What did I say to you, Blake? I'm like, yes, you should panic and sell me Jamar Chase.
Not happening. No. But it's crazy how people react. I think especially just because you're looking at guys who went around him in the draft, like CMC's clearly just the best running back in football right now, and Tyreek Hill, number 1 player in fantasy. Right. Happy to have taken him, and But if it had been between Chase and Hill in my redraft league at 4 there, luckily he went at 3. I probably would have gone Chase. But yeah, it's tough just because of the guys around him. But I don't think anybody's seriously gonna move him for peanuts right now.
If you can find somebody that can even give him like a little discount, like would you trade like a DK Metcalf and Kyron Williams for Jamar Chase? I would do something like that. I mean. There might be somebody in that's really desperate to take that 1 for 2 because they've suffered injuries, and
Holy
do something
shit!
like
I'm
that.
gonna go
Yeah.
do that. I have Kyron in this league, the same league that I have like 4 running backs. That's now 3 with Chubb, but now it's 4 with Kyron apparently. But I just these guys like Kyron who are like gadget guys. I just feel like they are so high risk to be displaced like any moment, either by injury or by Fournette or by a trade. Like it just I like them, but those are always my favorite sell highs. Is kind of that like flavor of the minute. So great. I like that kind of combo you came up with there because I do think he's just got league winning upside, and you have to go for the guy when he's down. You never want to try and buy Tyreek Hill right now, right? Well,
Yeah,
I don't think did he have a huge week too though. I mean, I think
it
people are
was
still.
okay. It was
Only
fine.
touchdown.
Oh, he did score that. Okay. Okay. Well, so my guy for patience in week 3 and going forward is not quite like a wide receiver one like the guys you talked about. He's more on your roster, and I'm telling you, you shouldn't drop him after 2 not the best weeks, and that's Jahan Dotson. Like, he, in my opinion, is very much like a 1A, 1B with him and Terry McLaurin out there. Like, he has played more snaps than him throughout 2 weeks. And the talent is there. He's a mid first round pick. He's a good route runner. Again, another guy who has a great reception perception profile and is clearly winning on a lot of the different routes he can run. Um, and, to be honest, I think that it's a tough week ahead. I don't think he's a clear start this week. And that's another part of the reason I'm saying this is it's like you just have to be ready because there are better weeks coming for this guy and his skills. So, yeah.
It's also supposed to be raining in Buffalo. They're playing at Buffalo, right? If I'm correct?
I believe so, and they're playing better against the pass pro than even like last year.
Yeah,
Let me see if it's
I, 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 I could agree with that. I mean, my one take on Dotson itself is
no,
I
it's in DC.
it's in DC. I
Yeah,
saw some
still kind of.
forecast for rain though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I mean, Sam Howell, he makes me nervous, and I mean, yeah, Dotson, I would keep him on my bench this week and kind of see what
yeah,
happens. But this guy is a premier talent. You just got to be patient with him. This guy should not be on waivers in any leagues. I don't care if it's redraft, keeper leagues, dynasty leagues, or whatever. Just be patient with this guy.
yeah. That's just my opinion, right? I have him in a 10-team league where that's a shallow bench, and there is some tempting options with higher projections. And I don't necessarily think he's going to have the greatest week this week, but I don't want to be the guy who drops him because of this right now. And then someone else who is smart pick him up, and then I'm sitting there mad I missed out when he does start to have some positive regression. So, Blake, any thoughts? Or are you good with it?
No, total agreement. Yeah, I think we all like Dotson. I think it's pretty obvious he's good, and he's gonna eventually start producing for you. So, and I like Sam Howell still. So,
Got to get that ball out quicker.
true, true.
Are we ready to move to panics?
Yes, please. Let me start this
Okay.
one off, please. I'm itching for this because
Okay.
I can't get this
So
off my chest.
get into it.
Yeah. So first off, I'm going to be talking about Najee Harris and this guy.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This guy is running in goddamn slow motion. I don't know what's wrong with him. Like, he just doesn't look explosive at all. The one selling point for me personally, is why I was kind of high on him, is he's gonna get 300 plus touches, and I don't know if that's gonna happen this year the way this is gonna going. And he was supposed to be catching the balls out of the backfield. That doesn't seem to be happening either. He was gonna fall into the end zone. Well, that's not happening either. So if none of these things are happening for Najee, why are we still starting him? Like right now, he's a touchdown dependent running back too, and it's not working out. He's on the field for 55% of the snaps. Jalen Warren, it looks like the more explosive overall back. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. Jalen Warren's got 12 targets compared to Najee's 3 catches. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on why Najee's bad, but this really comes down to the fact that Jalen Warren is better. And Jalen Warren is not going away. If he stays on this pace, he's going to be a thorn in Harris's owners' backsides, and he's not getting the touches to stay relevant in fantasy. So I am definitely panicking on Najee Harris.
It's only right that he's your panic because me and Johnny were panicked on him before the season started. So you're coming around a little bit later than we are.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I could have told you, and I did, that Jalen Warren was going to be a thorn.
You did mention that.
I think you are starting Najee this week. One more shot against Vegas. Nice matchup. I think we're panicking, but I think he's going to. You want 12 points this week, and I think he can get it. But I think overall it's a panic for sure.
If Kyron Williams was offered to me in a trade and I had Najee Harris, which thankfully I don't have Najee Harris. If I had Najee Harris, I would take Kyron all day right now. And that is something to say.
It's not even close.
And it's crazy that we're saying this out loud because you've been laughed out of the room before week 1. So.
Dude, he literally runs like 10 miles an hour. They won't give us the data from the AWS trackers on his stuff for some reason. They won't give it to us, but we can confirm just from the eye test that man is not running very fast out there. So
no.
Be careful with Najee Harris. Maybe trying to sell him.
Good luck.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope he goes off. I hope he makes us eat it. Like all of these guys who are panicking on, it'd be great if they just like all of a sudden turn into Brian Robinson overnight. But anyways, so my panic is Antonio Gibson. And he was a sit for me last week. He was like a decent – he actually made a decent play. But without that play last week, he would have been a total stinker. I think he scored 8 fantasy points, but almost way worse without that big catch. Below 50% of snaps in both the games. It is not a timeshare. Robinson is the lead back in that backfield. He is coming off the field to get some breathers, and he is getting 20 touches a game, and he's looking like a guy. Like he's looking good. And I just think if you're a Gibson owner at this point, if you're in a 10-team league, there's guys like Kyron Williams who you should be starting, right? Or even making room on your roster for in a hurry, or trying to pull off some sort of creative trade with Antonio Gibson. I still want to hold out hope that he'll get some passing game work in the Bieniemy offense and kind of come around. But there's just this clear notion coming from Washington year in and year out that he is not going to be their guy. Mm-hmm. They will go sign Fournette if they have to, or do something, but they don't want to give him all the work. And so I'm panicking on Antonio Gibson.
They don't like him. I don't know why he's still on the team. They should have just got rid of him last year. I mean, they clearly don't like this guy. He was the starter. Then they bring in Brian Robinson. They're just like, I don't care if this guy got shot 10 times. I'm putting him on the field before Gibson. So I don't know. I don't get it.
Blake, want to bring us home?
Yeah, sure. My guy's also a running back who looks like he's pushing a walker every week. Running like a 80-year-old lady. Alexander Madison, not doing it for you right now. Unfortunately, we all were excited to see what he would look like as the lead in that Minnesota backfield, and the returns have been very poor to say the least so far. He's averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry, under 2 points per reception. I mean, he's not doing it in either phase of the game right now. He had a costly fumble last week. He had 2, I think, right? And then one of them he got away with. But, Madison not looking good right now. There was hope that, that he was going to – we've seen him be efficient with his touches. They just traded for Cam Akers, so there's a little bit of hope maybe he can return to that. Maybe he's better as a reserve player, like with less touches. He stays a little bit fresher that way. But I think the signs even last year were telling you that this was going to happen. He had his worst year across the board, yards per carry, broken tackle rate, breakaway run speed, pretty much everything that you look for in a running back was the worst of his career, and it's been worse through 2 games this year. So I think the alarms are ringing, and if you can try and do anything with him right now, you're gonna take some hits on the value in terms of trading him. But I don't like Madison going for it. The Akers trade really doesn't even have any impact on my take. It's just Madison's good.
I was gonna say, great. They got Cam Akers now. They have 2 inefficient running backs. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're both the same person.
But that just tells you what the market is right now. Like they both stink. Yeah, the market is just that's they're just trying anything, and that's even more of a sign then that they're panicking. It's like, let's bring in Cam Akers and hopefully. I mean, I didn't. Is there information on the pick swap yet? It's some 2026.
It's
pick
very
swap.
late.
He has to rush for at least 500 yards to Akers, which is kind
to
of
get
like
the swap.
yeah.
Damn.
Or else they don't have to give him anything. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was just to get rid of Akers then.
Very interesting. They gave him away for literally like some pocket linked, not even change.
Well, I would say if you're a fantasy manager with either of those players, you're looking to do the same. So
Yeah.
I had Akers and Madison in one league, so this kind of just screws me both ways.
Dude, I'll say it. Ty Chandler, like deep sleeper. Like, here's a scenario. Like, Madison gets dog or kind of mad about the situation, bad attitude this week. Or maybe they just say, like, hey, you saw what we did in the market. We're going to mix some other guys in. I'm out.
He did run a 4.3, Chandler. Chandler's fast.
I know. Mix some other guys in. Get Dwayne McBride back in there. Like, what are we doing?
I will say Madison's got one more shot. That Vikings and Eagles game last week was absolutely miserable in the trenches. Like, they got bombarded that offensive line and defensively too, but we're talking about fantasy football. So offensive line was absolutely destroyed by that Eagles defensive line, and I don't think there was much to go around. Now, Madison did fumble once, and he actually almost fumbled twice. It got called back, thankfully, but he's got to play better. They got to block better. They got a nice matchup this week. If it doesn't happen this week, I'm officially on the panic board. So
yeah, you're waiting a week to panic.
I'm waiting a week.
I'm panicking now though, but yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Again, just
for instance, like I'd rather start Najee this week just because of the matchup.
Wait, so
you'd start Madison over Najee?
I would start Madison over Najee.
I would start Najee over Madison because of the matchup, to your point, Blake. But I just want to be clear here. You said that we were panicking, you and I, Blake, on Najee before the season. I was also panicking on Madison before the season. And I'm pretty sure I was lower on him than consensus. And it kind of goes in the same bucket as your Kyron Williams, and even your Jerome Fords and your guys who were never the guy ever coming out of college or anywhere, and then now all of a sudden they're just supposed to be a guy. Like, no, sorry guys. Like, sorry, I don't want to get too amped up here, but it's like it does suck to lose a guy like Nick Chubb because he was a guy, right? Like this guy was a track athlete, literally, and then the biggest, workout warrior, probably one of the NFL, like Derrick Henry. Like, I always get behind those kind of guys because they are just a different breed, and some of those guys I just mentioned, to me, they are just they are the same breed, and not compared to me. Like, I shouldn't get too hyped up here, but I was panicking on all those guys.
Nick Chubb, before he got hurt, he had like 64 yards to start the second quarter, so he was on a pretty good pace in that game too. So it really sucks.
Done what Jerome Ford did and more, and I mean that's why he was starting, right? And Jerome Ford had a great half going in for them, and which is a kind of closing thoughts. That steel curtain has been having a lot of holes in the curtain through the first couple of weeks on the run game.
Yep, I agree. They're getting gashed.
Well, guys, thanks for watching our panic and patience. We're going to see how these kind of play out through the year. And, hopefully this gave you some validation around your thoughts on some of those players. And drop a like, a comment if you got any questions or you want to poke back and share your thoughts, and subscribe to the page and keep up to date with all our latest content because we're here to help you win your leagues. All right. Take care, everyone.